Um, Hi guys, this video is going to be a bit different, but before I introduce it, I just want to say that this morning I got out of quarantine. It's now about 5 p.m. in the afternoon. I've been moved to my actual room. I don't know, but all the rooms are basically the same. It feels like a slight downgrade, like the bathroom's very slightly different. And also the view is not as nice, I guess. It's more naturey. I kind of have to keep the mosquito net like on all the time because it's like facing the mountain. There's loads of bugs, and like I've seen quite a few bugs trying to get in. So yeah, and it's starting to get warmer, so there will only be more of that. Anyway, to introduce this video's concept, I'm going to be talking through some of my art pieces I've been doing in isolation. They're not great, but I just wanted to do something different. Kind of hoping for this to be a more like relaxing type of video for me and maybe for you as well watching. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. So basically I use the app Procreate and I've got it open here. You'll be able to see it, what I'm seeing. And I've got like a few things, but I'm mainly just going to be doing these top 4 drawings. You can see here. So this is the first one. This is called Plastic Yellow, which is like a band concept, and that Plastic Yellow is the name of the band. You have, let's see, you have on the left here, you've got, let's just add a new layer. Okay, so on the left here, you've got, I named him Mishu. He was like the band leader. He's the main rapper for the band, and he plays synth. Yeah, I put full descriptions on my Instagram post on my alt account, which is just for art. I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, this guy, he's kind of a bit more of a dopey guy, but he's the leader, and he's actually quite good at organization when he needs to be. And yeah, despite his like wistfulness, and yeah, he's quite emotionless, a bit quiet, or distant, but yeah. Next up we have Yo-Yo. I kind of was just like I drew him last actually, but he's kind of got, I wanted to do a different type of head shape. If you notice, they've all got like these massive big potato sized heads. Yeah, so I went for more of like a flame / water drop, teardrop type thing, and then he's like super anxious and gets really nervous and stressed, and so kind of puts it into his like exercise, and that's why he's like super hench. I found it kind of funny to do like a guy who's a nervous wreck but also could beat you up if he wanted to. Next up is Hazza. He's kind of like the easygoing, carefree, has like super confident, probably has a massive ego, but he's like doesn't really care what anyone thinks of him. It's like an ego, but it's not like in a bad way. I think he's just like really cocky, kind of funny in a funny way, I guess. He's also like super into streetwear, high-end kind of fashion. Gave him some like sort of e-boy type accessories nearly. And then like, yeah, so that's him. He plays all the instruments basically. He's really talented, and he has like vitiligo, which you could kind of see on his skin, which is a condition where like, oh, my friend's gonna lay into me if I get this wrong, because one of my friends has vitiligo. It's a condition where like areas which have a lot of rubbing lose their pigment, and like anywhere in your skin can lose its pigment, and that kind of like means you're more like prone to sunburn, and like sunburn is even more damaging. Yeah, and you kind of see like these paler patches in areas which have like lots of get rubbed, or like kind of like I'm not sure what the right word is, but like yeah, I don't know, get rubbed a lot, face a lot of friction, I don't know, but like it would be like kind of in areas like maybe around the eyes, especially around the mouth, and often see it around like parts of the neck, in between like kind of areas which rub together a lot, maybe like under your arms, that sort of area, those sort of areas. Yeah, I definitely recommend looking it up. I actually did a essay on vitiligo because I had to do an essay on a genetic disease, which is, yeah, so that's what I did my essay on. And then finally we have Elijah. He is the guitarist of the group, bass and normal guitar, and sometimes guitar as well. He's insanely quiet. He doesn't talk at all, and he writes most of the songs for the band as well. He's like super talented as well. Yeah. The thing about these guys is kind of like what I did inadvertently was I kind of split my personality into 4 characters, and each character kind of accentuated different parts of my personality. Like I'm not, and I also added extra talents which I definitely don't have, but like this one you could probably guess looks quite a bit like me, but I think I could be quite, he's kind of this Mishu's kind of like my default position, I'd say, and then kind of a bit emotionless, a bit distant, quite calm but quiet, and then Yo-Yo's kind of like my more anxious side, and where a lot of my mental health problems kind of come in, and stressful side. You did get a bit of the brunt of the bad sides. And then Hazard's more of the kind of side of me that really likes fashion and art, and a bit of where my sense of humor comes from, I think. And Elijah is he's a kind of a bit closer to Mishu as well. The more just the really quiet kind of side part of me that like doesn't like to share too much or anything like that. So yeah, that's Plastic Yellow. Moving on, this is Void Eel. I don't know what to say about this one really. It's 2 layers basically. It's I painted this background kind of super neon multicolor. I was listening to the song by MGMT called Electric Feel, and in the line it goes, "Shock me like an electric eel." And like that was the song I was listening to when I decided I wanted to draw something, and so I was like, oh, why not? It's kind of like bit of just maybe therapy drawing, I don't know. Like you could see, like through, I kind of like cut slits of the eye and stuff to like, so the background comes through. Yeah, I don't know, don't have a lot to say on it, but I think it's pretty cool. This one is called Social Isolation. It's made up of like, there's one character here, layer 2, which is like the focus, and then you have like the background layer here, and then you have layer 1 and layer 66, and then you have about 60 layers of like the same person copy and pasted. Yeah, so I kind of meant to resemble like a party or like a gathering, and where it's a bit like anxiety where you're in the place but you feel isolated, even though there's loads of people around you. You feel like really distant from people and really isolated, and it kind of like is also a bit of play on that whole, because in coronavirus, I don't think I should be saying that word because I don't want to get flagged by YouTube, but the big issue that we all know about going on right now, and we're all supposed to be socially distancing, it felt a bit relevant. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know, sometimes it's how I felt sometimes, often maybe a bit now. Yeah, other side of the country, I mean, like, everyone's social distancing at the moment. It has been a bit challenging for me, I think, because while I'm out of quarantine and everything, there's still not really many people I can see. There's still not many places I can go. Yeah, I'm in a different time zone to a lot of people, so it's hard to speak to people, and I don't really like reaching out. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. This one is called Scarecrow, and this took me, I spent 2 days on it. I wasn't 2 full days. It was like 2 evenings, probably about 8 hours. It's got a lot of layers encompassing lots of different things. I'll show you the order in which I did things. So if we take off that and that and that and that. So yeah, we started with this group, and it was originally just this drawing. It was a separate drawing. Originally it was actually this drawing. So it started off as this was like the very first image, and then I drew over it with this one, and I moved it a bit so it looks a bit out of place. I kind of wanted to give do with the legs especially, kind of like wanted them to be like a bit broken and really long. I wanted like the long limbs, and then the claws is like the really long arms, and you can kind of see where the joints are with the overlapping. Yeah, and the smile is kind of mildly inspired by the League of Legends champion Fiddlesticks, because he's recently had a rework. I haven't played League in a while. I haven't been able to, basically, but yeah. That was kind of what initially gave me the idea to do this, but I wouldn't say this is supposed to be Fiddlesticks at all. And then I coloured it in a bit. Basically, originally it was just one layer, and then I accidentally duplicated it, and it like places the same layer on top, and it actually gave like a nicer, deeper effect, so I was quite happy with that. Basically, I used purely colour, just pencil, for most of this drawing. For the character, the Scarecrow, is just pencil with different colors, just the HB pencil and Procreate. And then like smudging, so like that's how you see these like effects here. And like if I zoom in, you can kind of see here like there's some pencil marks there, and like you can see like the blood, and it's kind of like coming off his steam, and he's got some around his mouth here, and yeah, it's also dripping off his hand here. And then towards the end, this was done later on, like at the very end, I added some like kind of more stitching to make it look a bit more like sackcloth, and then blended that in as well. Yeah, and he's got a bit more blood from that one. Okay, so that was the Scarecrow, and then after that, very quickly, I had this palette. This is most of the colors I used. I think it's quite a cool idea if you like have a separate layer for your palette, so that you could constantly switch back to them, don't lose colors. I know Procreate has palettes, and you could probably use that. I just completely forgot about it. But yeah, so that's the skeleton, and that was the palette. And then I was focusing on background. So the first thing I did was the sky. This is 2 identical layers on top of each other. This I don't think I used, no, I did use pencil for this one, and it's like been smudged a lot. You can see it was kind of like like a really it's a night sky, kind of cloudy. Yeah, I quite like how it looks actually, because with the different colors, like different types of blue and gray. So yeah, I was quite happy with this. And then I drew grass, or the wheat, because he's a scarecrow. And like you start at the back obviously, and then you work your way forwards, and yeah, till it gets longer. It's kind of like, it's helpful. I did some studies on perspective for this. I then drew behind the grass, like the ground as it were, and that is this group here. So this is made up of 3 layers. So I'll first show this one. So this one is like the main layer. It's kind of the wheat color, lots of yellow and gold, light browns, and then you've also got the blood patch here at the bottom, kind of below the scarecrow, and this smaller patch is below his hand that's dripping. And then I added then there's this layer. There's the 2 identical of this layer on top of each other. This was literally just to darken it so that it looks like it's at night time. I was kind of looking at some pictures of wheat fields at night, like Google Images has everything, and like the wheat looks quite dark underneath the top because it's at night time. So yeah, it was kind of to add shadow. And then I drew a tree. This is in the background. Wanted to add a bit, and you can't really see this on the Instagram post in detail at all, but it's a dead tree, I guess, and like you've got some crows on the branches, like you can see here. And I drew a hanging man, and he's got the same kind of, a hung man, got the same kind of smile as the scarecrow. Yeah, I kind of wanted to add a bit of flavor to it. It's kind of speculation, was that the scarecrow, and then, or was it a victim of the scarecrow? Who knows, it could be both. So yeah, and then of course you bring back scarecrow and the signature. Yeah, and that's the finished piece. As parts of it I'm not so happy with. Like, I think the grass I could have put more detail in. Excuse me. And the Scarecrow part, I feel like he could look scarier. He's a bit simple, I think, and that might be because I use pencil. I think part of me would have maybe considered maybe like crouching him and like having the legs kind of looking a bit more like outwards, like he's doing like a half split or something, and he doesn't look quite so straight. He looks a bit lopsided perhaps. But yeah, it's definitely a piece I'll come back to in the future, redo, I think. But yeah, I've been thinking about, that's kind of, yeah, so that summarizes the pieces I wanted to show you guys. I've been thinking about doing some live streaming of like drawing, like, and just chatting. Like I'd need to know like quite a few people are interested in watching something like that. Yeah. But so yeah, let me know. Give me feedback on my drawings, any tips you might want to recommend. I'm still very new to this. Yeah, and I'm like by no means, I wouldn't call myself professional at this or anything. It's just something I like to do for fun. Kind of want to, something I want to do more in the future, maybe even professionally. So yeah, feedback is welcomed, ideas are welcomed. Please subscribe, comment, like, it really helps a lot. And yeah, let me know what you want to see future content. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a great day, stay safe, wash your hands, blah blah blah. Yeah, I'll speak to you soon.